This tire costs $50, the other costs over $1,000. One saved $950, while the other might have just saved a life. Which one is the best option for you to go for and why? To answer this question and help you decide, we put cheap versus premium tire rubber to the test. And you won't believe what the results are because we're shocked by it too. The first thing we notice in our comparison is that it all starts with the EV. Electric cars might look sleek and quiet, but under the surface, they're a lot tougher on tires than regular gas vehicles. For starters, EVs are heavier, sometimes by over 1,000 pounds, because of the massive battery pack sitting low in the chassis. That extra weight means more pressure on every tire, especially when you're turning, braking, or hitting potholes. Then there's the torque. Electric cars don't build up power gradually like gas engines. Instead, they give you full acceleration the second you hit the pedal. But that's the problem. That instant pull puts way more strain on the rubber touching the road. This is why when you slow down, regenerative braking kicks in, immediately hitting the tires harder than normal brakes. So what happens when you throw the cheapest possible tire onto something as powerful and heavy as a Tesla or a Mustang Mach-E? That brings us to the two contestants, the cheap tire versus the expensive one. First is the budget tire, which you'd usually find online for around $50, and it's a no-name brand. It's typically made with a basic rubber blend meant for everyday use on cars like small sedans, not powerful EVs. It has no sound insulation built in, which means you're getting a noisier ride. There's also the tread depth, which is shallow, so it wears out faster, struggles in rain, and most of all, isn't built with EVs in mind. That simply means it lacks the stiffness to handle a heavy car and the grip to manage sudden torque. Regardless of the season, it might work for light commuting and short trips, but best believe that on an EV, it's just out of its league. On the other hand is the high-end tire like the Michelin Pilot Sport EV, Pirelli P0 EV, or Continental Extreme Contact. This pricey tire is built specifically for electric vehicles. It's designed with reinforced sidewalls to handle the extra weight. It also has foam inserts to reduce road noise in quieter EV cabins. Its rubber compound is engineered for maximum grip regardless of the season, including wet conditions. These tires also help improve range with low rolling resistance and take repeated bursts of instant torque without losing traction. Now that you know what both the cheap and expensive tires are capable of, it's time to decide which will give you your money's worth. We've narrowed it down to 5 important tests of performance and safety, so let's get right into it. Starting off strong is the first test, dry braking. Stopping distance might not be something most drivers think about daily until you realize that at highway speeds, every meter counts. On a standard 100 km/h approach, even a tiny delay in braking can be right on the first line between saving a life or hitting someone. With cheap $50 tires, test footage shows they took 10 to 12 meters longer to stop than premium options. That's over a bus length and enough to go from a close call to a full-on crash. Premium tires, on the other hand, grip the road firmly, even when you slam into the brakes. That's because of their deeper, stickier tread and reinforced structure. Electric vehicles have extra weight and torque, so their stopping performance is very important. The car's heavier mass needs more tire grip to slow down quickly. That means premium tires pass this test, but can cheap beat premium in the next test of wet cornering and hydroplaning? Well, let's find out. Rain turns roads into slippery danger zones, and it's the best test that shows which tire is good and bad depending on their toughness. Hydroplaning happens when a tire can't push water out from underneath it, creating a thin water layer that lifts the tire off the pavement. In rainy track tests, budget $50 tires often lost contact mid-turn on wet asphalt. It gets worse. Drivers experience sudden slides, bouncing across lanes just from hitting a puddle. Premium EV tires like Michelin Pilot Sport EV or Continental Extreme Contact feature specially designed tread channels that actively cut through these so-called layers of road water. In turns on wet roads, they fight hydroplaning better and maintain the grip you need to stay in your lane. More than just traction, this test shows control. With wet weather causing around 20% of hydroplaning-related crashes every year, tire choice becomes a real safety factor. Meanwhile, EV-specific tires undergo rigorous wet weather testing to meet high traction standards. So in this test, cheap tires don't stand a chance against premium ones. That brings us to test-free, cabin noise and comfort. Tires are your car's only physical link to the road, and whatever affects them shows up inside the cabin. On gas cars, engine and exhaust noise can drown out road rumble. But it's a different case in EVs. You literally hear everything. That's why cheap $50 tires can turn your silent electric ride into a rumbling, rattling, and pretty annoying headache. In test comparisons, budget tires generated noise levels up to 75 decibels when cruising at highway speeds. That's about the volume of a vacuum cleaner. Inside the EV, road rumble translated into constant rumbling and buzzing through the cabin. Sensitive EV cabin mics pick every inch of tarmac, expansion joint, and stone chip. Premium EV tires, though, stay silent. They already include foam inserts and specially tuned rubber compounds that absorb road harshness. In the same tests, they only reached around 65 decibels, a noticeable difference from the cheap alternative. So in this test, the expensive tire has the upper hand because who wants to have to deal with noise in the EV? Next, we have the fourth test called the launch grip and regenerative braking stability. One feature of EVs is that torque blast the moment you hit the accelerator, producing a thrust that can instantly pin you to your seat. But not all tires can grip that sudden punch. In acceleration tests, budget $50 tires struggled hard when it came to wheel spin, spinning wheels out of grip, and slow launches. With premium EV tires, it's different. They hooked up cleanly and launched hard, without drama. Then comes regenerative braking. This is a process where the electric motor slows the car and recharges the battery. This process puts unusual forces on every tire. In testing, cheap tires shuddered or chirped when Regen kicked in at higher speeds or sudden braking. Premium tires, on the other hand, handled it smoothly, anchoring the car with an impressive solid grip. So the reality that EVs apply instant torque and cheap tires can't handle it kind of gives the cheap tires a con. What goes fast needs to also stop smoothly. If your tires can't do both, then is it really worth getting them in the first place? Finally, we've got the last test, which is the emergency maneuver or moose test and swerving test. This one will help make the final decision. When something unexpected jumps onto the road, your tires are your lifeline. The moose test simulates a quick swerve to prevent you becoming the victim in a car scene. In emergency maneuver test with cheap $50 tires, the car leaned over awkwardly with excessive body roll. The test driver had to correct steering mid-swerve to avoid sliding off path. On the other hand, premium EV tires behaved quite differently. The car stayed flat and stable, responding exactly to steering input. Sidewall stiffness and tread grip meant less understeer and better directional control. So in crunch time, premium tires deliver good control that could literally save your life. Cheap tires may save you money at checkout, but over time, they start draining your wallet in unexpected ways. After just 10,000 to 20,000 kilometers, many drivers report significant tread wear on budget $50 tires. The shallow tread and lower grade rubber compound wear down quickly, especially on heavy EVs. In forum posts online, EV owners have shared photos of nearly sidewall cracking, uneven tread decay, and even full tire blowouts. That's already hard to imagine, let alone actually experiencing it. Good thing premium tires, like those designed specifically for EVs, exist. They usually last much longer, often 40,000 kilometers or more. They use stronger materials, advanced tread designs, and are built to handle the unique stress of electric torque and weight. Over the life of your car, that means fewer replacements and less downtime. Then there's rolling resistance. Lab tests have shown up to 5 to 10% range loss when switching from premium low-resistance tires to budget ones. Over thousands of kilometers, that translates into more charging stops and more electricity costs. So yes, premium tires are more expensive up front, but factor in the longer tread life, fewer tire changes, better energy economy, and lower risk of catastrophic failure. Cheap tires will last you a while until something unexpected happens. Would you trust a $50 tire on your EV? Have you tried both? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. If this tire showdown made you rethink your EV tire choices, then check out our deep dive on EV range myths. It might surprise you how tire pressure and temperature affect every kilometer. Well, also check out our previous video. We show you the pros and cons of a battery fix versus a battery replacement for your EV and which is the only real long-term solution. Hit the subscribe button for an EV that'll have people asking who your repair guy is.